Hi, in this instructional video, we'll dive deeper into converting from physical to virtual teaching in fall of 2020. It is so important to do a tight job of organizing your class, going through that syllabus line by line and figuring out how you're going to organize things. Let me show you exactly what I mean by that. There was my syllabus for the second half of the spring 2020 semester. We went on break, spring recess, the week of March 17, and we never came back. Now, this was my original syllabus, and so you can see how I plan to handle the second half of the semester. But when we had to go online, I recreated my syllabus and I made it much tighter. So here's what I had for the second half of the semester going online. Notice instead of just having the very, very basic March 24th, we're going to handle financing chapter 8. That's what that 8 is, the column. I didn't have the entire sheet there, but I then broke it up much more finely for the students. And so you can see that for March 24th, we had a video conference, and that was just the first day back online. And that's where I just explained to the students exactly how we were going to handle the second half of the class, second half of the semester. And then I said, okay, it is your responsibility to do prior to the next class date all of the components there. And so before March 26th, they had to watch the micro lectures on Chapter 8, Financing, and those were up on the Learning Management System. They had to listen to the key terms audios from Chapter 8. I want to again mention that this is, in my opinion, a really underutilized, almost completely unused capability. So I would strongly encourage you to check out the instructional video on using audios. It's so simple. Also, I upped my use of YouTube content. And so in this one, I said, we're going to be using Microsoft Teams a little bit. So I want you to be aware of how that worked. So I want you to go to YouTube and watch that introduction to Microsoft Teams. There are lots of capabilities of doing that. We used Theranos, the startup company from Silicon Valley, the blood testing company that went spectacularly belly up. But for this class, this is the entrepreneurship class, we talked about how they were able to raise $724 million on basically, a promise and from some pretty smart people. So that worked out well. But do think of the ways that you might be able to utilize the fact that we're online. For example, I came up with an exercise and I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office website. And I won't go into the details, but they had to, prior to class, go and find some information there. And then when we were in class, I called on individual students. They had the USPTO website up to what they had chosen to go to, and then they shared their screen and shared it with the rest of the class. So that worked out quite well. Now, notice right below there on April 14th, we had a quiz on intellectual property. I told them that we were going to have the quiz that day. They knew it in advance. I put the quiz up on the learning management system as a Word document, but it was password protected. They couldn't get into it. And then in our virtual class, I said, okay, you've got 20 minutes, and here's the password. And away they went. So setting up a password, super, super simple. There is a micro lecture elsewhere that deals with that simple capability. Now, obviously, and I said it before, I'll say it again, this is much more work than just the traditional, physical classroom. But it is necessary for the students, and it has some benefits for the instructor. Now, long-term instructor benefits include, new technology skills. And you may be thinking, I don't want new technology skills, but, we've got to get them. But another, and this is perhaps a much more important long-term benefit for the instructor, reusable course content. Yeah, you're doing a lot of work up front, but it can pay some dividends down the road. A couple years ago, I created all of my instructional videos for my Principles of Marketing class. Now I've got 65 micro lectures, just absolutely turnkey to teach that class. Here's the thing. I didn't do that overnight. I did it over the course of the class, a couple of weeks, in advance of when I was going to give the lectures. So that's what I did. I tried to create the content a couple of weeks before it had to be ready. Gave me a little bit of wiggle room, in case things fell behind. So don't feel overwhelmed that I'll never be able to, create this for my class. You don't have to have everything done deal, ready to go August 26th or whatever your first day of class is, but you do want to get a head start. And the key thing, of course, is organize that class, look at that syllabus, and decide how are you going to use the online teaching trilogy to put your best pivoted class together.